She is the founder and CEO of Speaker Life magazine, luxury media brands. She has summits, she has podcasts, she's the owner of a jet company.
When you build on somebody else's platform, it could be taken away at any time. I know so many people that have lost their Facebook accounts. The mind is the only thing that's really holding you back. It can make you soar to the highest levels, or it can make you fall flat on your face. Those people are so much easier because they are used to paying high dollar. They just want to make sure that you're going to take care of them. The more money they spend, the easier they are to work with. You can do anything as long as you believe in yourself. And the other thing that most people don't do is...
All right. Welcome back, listener. So excited you're here. And today, I'm actually very excited. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while now. This is Lea Woodford. She is the founder and CEO of Speaker Life magazine, luxury media brands. And what that means is she is extraordinary at attracting the 1% and being able to help them find solutions to their problems and help their life be better. Anyway, she has summits, she has podcasts, she's the owner of a jet company, she has magazines. I'm so excited to be here today. She does all the things. Great to
I do
see you.
all... Great to be here, Daniel. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. So I'm sure the listeners wondering at this point, what in the world does all that mean? And I'd love for you to take us on a journey, your backstory. How do we get here?
Well, I studied journalism in college, and sadly, I found out as a local anchor, you couldn't make any money, you know. And so I found myself married and then divorced with little kids at 23. And so I got into sales, but I've always loved being a journalist, what makes people tick. And I'm also a military brat. So I was always the new kid in school, always having to make new friends, always having to start over. So while I hated it as a kid, it really served me well through life. So I couldn't find the job I wanted, and I knew I couldn't do hard news because I'd be taking that home to my kids, and I didn't want to do that. So I kind of created my own story, if you will. I created lifestyle segments for myself. And that was a way that I could build, because I'm also a business consultant. I did LLCs and marketing, but people would know me because I'd be in your living rooms in the morning and in the afternoon. So it was a great way to build. Back then we didn't have social media, so it was a great way to be known without having to, have the golden handcuffs.
Yeah. Well, you hit on a very important topic right then at the end, and that's without social media. You know this, but we talk to so many people and they default to, I'm going to build my business using Facebook ads. And that simple little statement, it grinds my gears half the time because I think to myself, wait a second, why? Why are you defaulting to Facebook ads? And second, do, do you have something to dump fuel on the fire with? And I'm curious, well, I do want to uncover more of that story and unpack that, but I'd love your take on building before social media, and I think it'll uncover ways that people can build their business without relying on good old fashioned Meta or Facebook. Any thoughts there?
There's a lot of thoughts there.
Yeah.
Social media kind of pushed aside traditional media, but what I really love about building your own brand and YouTube, for instance,
Hmm.
is you own it. The problem when you build on somebody else's platform, it could be taken away at any time. I know so many people that have lost their Facebook accounts, their Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. So the more you can really be your own media, the more, not only does it make you different, it really elevates your brand, but it protects you in the long run. Because who knows what, Zuckerberg's going to do, or these Elon Musk. We can't control them. We can only control us. So I want the powers to the kingdom in my pocket.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And same here. And funny enough, I got my start in this crazy world of digital marketing by solely focusing on Facebook advertising. At the time, it was Facebook, not Meta. And I was then known as the Facebook ads guy. And I always sat there to myself and I thought, man, I don't want to be known as just the Facebook ads guy. There's so much more to it than that. And what I didn't know at the time was what you just articulated. I can't build my business and other people's businesses on a platform that could go away, change, crumble at a moment's notice. Obviously, Meta's not going to crumble overnight, but the point is, I don't want to rely on a sole source of traffic or be known as this sole single platform guy. So I think that really goes back to, you know, traditional media and its place in the current marketing landscape and in our current marketing portfolio. And I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because we have to talk about the jet company, the magazine, but what are you seeing in the landscape nowadays? How do you tie in traditional media to
I
yeah.
think it's difficult, but it can be done. Um, the problem, and I want to just set news aside, for instance, because we're so divided. I don't even watch the news anymore.
No,
People
same
have
here.
Yeah, people have decided where they want to go. But traditional media, for instance, one of my side gigs is I'm a national TV host for independent financial planners.
Hmm.
So those TV segments go into individual markets all over the country. And people could be doing this. For me, I really like YouTube. I think people look at it as another social media outlet, and it's not. It's an SEO engine.
Hmm.
If you really, it's not dancing kitties anymore. It really is whatever you want to make it, but it's the closest thing to really being able to have your own platform. Back in the day, it was $10,000 a month just to get SEO services. That's not even close to that anymore. So it doesn't make sense not to use YouTube. I think YouTube is one of the best platforms out there. It's owned by Google. What do people do, Daniel, when they want to find something out? They Google it.
Just Google it. Yes. You're right in line with a lot of things I talk about with clients who are a bit newer in their journey when like, well, where should I be posting? And I would say 80% of the time, 90% of the time, the answer is let's start with YouTube because that's where your people are. But why do you know that? Well, it's the second largest search engine in the world, right after Google, and Google owns it. And so there's an argument to be made that it's the biggest. So, yep, go ahead.
I 100% agree with that. And what I really like about it is you have more of a freer landscape. You don't have all the You do have algorithm changes, but they're not going to change every week like Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
I feel like you can really build something there. Your Facebook post lasts for 30 days. Instagram, I think, is a week.
Mhm.
YouTube, I have stuff from 20 years ago or whenever they first came out. Some of my old TV segments are still there, and still ranking, believe it or not.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. Funny enough, I have some old videos from 2017, 2018 that are specifically around tactics on Facebook ads and how to do certain things. I still get comments asking if this is applicable. I'm like, well, this is the game has changed.
It,
Sorry.
well, and you bring up a really good point, Daniel. Marketing is a long game, but the target's always moving. So you have to
Yeah.
have a flexible mindset. As far as I can see, YouTube really hasn't changed a lot since it started. It's gotten a little bit better, but you're not seeing all the algorithm changes and all the hoops that you have to jump through that you see on all the other platforms. That's why I
Mm,
love it so much.
absolutely. Well, do you mind if we shift gears here towards a little bit more on the marketing to the 1% and that mindset? Or
No, that's one of my favorite topics.
perfect, because you mentioned something, and it's, well, besides the point. I really want to talk about how you maintain that rock solid mindset around, hey, I can go after the 1%. And truthfully, I'm going to put this in very simple terms. I can sell high ticket. I can sell high ticket to those who afford it. And when we talk about high ticket, sometimes I relate it back for clients to, well, if I was out there selling a jet, I wouldn't have to go through all the hoops of a sales funnel and everything. So it's funny that I'm talking to somebody now that owns a jet company and sells jets. And so, where did you first realize that, hey, wait, I can go after big fish and I'm not intimidated by that?
It was kind of funny. We didn't have a jet yet. We were in the middle of it, of getting our certificate and everything together.
Yeah.
But I created the branding around,
Mm,
and not, this is our second jet charter company and the first one too. I created the magazine, and I really got people excited about the jet company that wasn't even there yet, but I believed it, and I already knew it was happening because we were going through the steps with the FAA and everything. So it wasn't really selling thin air. I was actually selling a beautiful glossy magazine. And funny story, my first celebrity was Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, who I love. And so what happened was he was on the cover. He goes, "Oh, you guys sell jets?" And yes, we sell jets. We were just a few months away. And fast forward, he started working with us.
mm,
And then he asked us to help him buy his jet. And it's just kind of rinse and repeat. You've got to believe it before you can see it. Everything's mindset.
yeah, it
And,
it is.
and I'm going to say one thing more, Daniel.
Yeah, please.
Those people are so much easier because they're used to paying high dollar. They just want to make sure that you're going to take care of them. But the biggest PETA clients are the people that pay the least amount of money. The more money they spend, the easier they are to work with and the more
Mm,
joy they have.
I firmly believe that. I've seen it firsthand. And so, listener, take it from me, take it from our special guest, Leah, here today. If you go out there with a mindset of, how do I figure out an offer that I can sell that provides a lot of value, but also provides me or you, listener, a lot of monetary value, then I want you to be thinking about that. Hey, Daniel Pope here. Real quick, I want to give you a huge thanks for listening. If you're enjoying it, I'd love it if you share with others. That's how I get the word out, by you sharing it with somebody that could really benefit from this. Now, I started this podcast to stand out above the noise, to give real growth tactics in a crazy world when others may give some misinformation or not cover everything you need to know. That's not my MO. My MO is being able to give back, being able to help others see what they actually need to do in order to grow. And that's why personally, my company, Be Known, we don't offer any courses or coaching programs. We're a done for you service provider because we know in this world, sometimes people just need a helping hand, a connected team, and an expert to be there every step of the way. So again, I really appreciate you listening, and talk to you soon. And so I'll tell a quick story before we continue. I remember sitting in the audience at a conference, an industry conference one year, and there was a gentleman up there. He was in a wife beater and jean shorts. And there was a gentleman up there with his then wife and his wife currently, and he started talking about selling $100,000 packages. And I was like, "What?" And so mind you, I came from the world of direct response marketing, sales funnels, selling 997 courses and below. And this guy getting up there talking about selling 30, 50, $100,000, he was off his rocker. But for me, I was enamored. I was sitting there thinking, wait a second, this is genius. This is brilliant. Yes. Okay. So if Dan Kennedy says he who can spend the most to acquire a customer always wins, then we've got to sell high ticket. And that was in 2018. And that guy up on the stage, his name is Alex Hormozy, and he went on to become a very, very influential voice in our industry.
Love
Is
Alex.
on path to become a billionaire. But so that's why I'm excited to talk to you today, because I directly resonate with the sell large ticket things to people who can afford it and that are not going to sit there and say, but my $9.99 purchase.
Everybody needs to start somewhere.
Yeah.
They do. But, and I was straddling two markets because I had Speaker Life, and a lot of times I was catering to the brand new speakers who
Mm,
really, a lot of them are just broke as a joke. No kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, I had this conversation with my husband, and he says, "Well, honey, you do the marketing for Speaker Life. What if you really transitioned from, the new speakers to the seasoned, to the influencers, and to the thought leaders?" And so that's why I made the pivot, because I was already working in the luxury market, and it is a pain in the butt to work, to straddle two target demographics. And those people are the covers, the people that are really changing things and really serving to the best of their ability. Those are the ones that I want to cover in the magazine, Speaker Life magazine. I'm excited because our mutual friend, Michelle Cunningham, is going to be on the cover. And she's done
Yeah.
some amazing things. She's one of your former clients, but she's done some amazing things. Those are the people that I want on the cover because they're going to inspire people to think bigger.
Mm, yes. So when you're interviewing these people, are there any patterns that you pick out? Any trends that most of them seem to all share, mindset wise, time management wise? Anything you want to share there? I'm sure the listener's curious as much as I am.
They're really passionate about what they do, and they really have a servant's heart. But the
Mm,
other, their offers are pristine. If they're going to sell high ticket, you bet they're going to deliver. And I know you talk a lot about offers. That's the biggest problem that I see. And Jim Rohn says this, and I really love this. The more value you bring to the marketplace, the more you can charge. And I don't think people really embrace that the way they should. How can I serve and really serve and create tremendous value?
I
And
agree.
you're not gonna, yeah, 297 package is great, but it's it's not gonna set the world on fire.
No, no, you're right. And I was working with a client just recently, and we have a mutual colleague. This client and we were working with the colleague, and we started coming up with six-figure offers,
Love
starting
it.
at 100 grand, moving up to 150, moving up to 250, and then 250 with a performance-based kicker on top of that. And at first, the client was very shy towards it, and obviously, it takes a lot of mindset adjustment to wrap your head around. Wait, I could sell that, but I'm over here saying, yeah, let's go. Let's go, because I've seen what his current offer delivers at $32,000, and I know it can be so much more with simple tweaks. But I
Yeah,
love,
he
yeah, go
needs
ahead.
a mastermind with a jet. We'll get it up to 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah, funny enough, he actually goes to something called Jets and Capital, and anyway, besides the point, I'll connect you with him later. But yeah, it's always funny to me how there are such limiting beliefs around different price points. And I remember, Michelle tell this story all day long. I remember when I first worked with Michelle Cunningham, our mutual friend and colleague and former client of mine. She said, Daniel, I cannot sell that at $297. I said, what? This thing is worth 1,000. This thing is, I mean, this could literally build a six-figure business for somebody. And the offer itself was around how to sell on Facebook Lives for your network marketing company at the time. And she said, I just can't. I said, well, come on, just trust me. Trust me. She said, okay, if as long as we just sell two, I'll be fine. Well, we sold 250 in a weekend of that thing at
She's
297.
right. And amazing how a little success gives you a little more confidence.
Yes. Why is that? Why do you think it's just like until they see the
Because, sadly, when you're manifesting something, you have to believe it before you see it.
mm,
But
yeah.
we're wired to see it before we believe it. And it really, when you're manifesting something, it's reverse. It's funny because my husband tells everybody, "Oh yeah, she manifested our jet."
Yeah.
I did because it belonged to the owner of Jet Set magazine, and we flew them to Monterey. He's not a pilot, but my husband is, and we're friends. And it's beautiful. It's black and silver. And I told Paul, when he sells this, we need to buy it. And we had just started our second jet charter company. Yeah, Leah, that's going to happen. And then that was about 3 months later. He goes, "Merry Christmas. You're getting the Jet Set jet." For
So it's funny because you see those commercials of the husband buying the wife a car and you're thinking, "Oh no, if she bought me a car, he bought me a car without telling." But nah, your husband just said, "Hey, Merry Christmas."
yeah,
Yeah. I love that.
he couldn't see it, but I could.
Yeah.
Ed Milet says this, and I really believe it. You have to touch the dream. If you
Mm,
don't experience it and you aren't around people who embody this, then you're never going to be able to do it. Because we do have, we're born with limiters, parents, society. I mean, we're taught from a very young age to conform, and think about the Elon Musk, the Steve Jobs. These guys were probably super dorks in school, and they went their own path. Bill Gates, they all went their own path. And look at them. It's because they didn't conform. They really leaned into their genius and into their own personal.
yeah. And that is so relevant right now because obviously and to date ourselves, we're recording this October of 2025. But this year specifically has been a tough year for a lot of people. And a lot of people have been in fear. They're building their business in fear due to a lot of factors. And I'm not going to talk about them all. It doesn't matter. But what I'm getting at is I have a lot of conversations with people that have no differentiation and no idea what they could be. And for example, I was working with somebody today and she said, well, I do organization and beauty and growth really well. I said, what are you talking about? What does growth even have to do? Throw out growth. Okay, what is beauty? She said, well, I sell blah blah blah. I said, cut that. You're doing two different types of things. And then she said, okay, organization. Well, I'm an organizer. I said, okay, and not to be too blunt, but who cares? Like, why should someone care? And so we went on this journey of what is the actual end goal here? She said, well, I want to make X amount per month. I said, perfect, attainable. We've got to get specific. Now let's chart a course to it. We cannot just be the organizer. And so we went on this journey of, hey, I'm the organizer for women who are the housemakers, 50 plus years of age and older, who are empty nesters. They turn their house into a home and a home into a showcase when they host. And so, boom. Anyway, this little monologue I'm getting at is, what you just said about you've got to touch the dream, you've got to perceive it, and we all live in this limiting belief, myself included. And we'll talk about this. And funny enough, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks out in
I
Scottsdale with you. So excited. But shameless plug here. So you have a wonderful summit. Do you do this every year?
I do. This is our
Okay.
eighth. Summit, and it's for speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs. And this year, our focus is really on mindset because the mind is the only thing that's really holding you back. It can make you soar to the highest levels, or it can make you fall flat on your face. Whether you want to win or lose, it's all up to you, but it's all mindset. And so many people think they know how to fix their mindset, but they really don't.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so we're going to be really, really talking about that. Just a lot of strange things going on in the world, and there's a lot of fear.
Mm,
And what
yeah.
happens when we're in fear? We do nothing, and that's the kiss of death, right?
Yes. Well, for the listener that wants to apply and see if they would be a good fit for this mastermind, this event, where should they go? What's the link
They
to it?
can go to speakerlifesummit.com. We have a few seats left. I'm super excited. We have some amazing rock star speakers coming, and I really love it. But I really love the way this one was tailored because we are really, um, pulling the curtain back so you can really see how you can absolutely have a wealthy mindset because that's really going to take you to the 1%. If you can't believe it before you see it, then you're always going to be stuck where you are.
Yeah. And, you know, I'll take a little line out of a great movie, Twisters. If you can feel it, you
Great
can
movie.
taste it. Anyway, what we were talking about just a second ago, and that's speakerlifesummit.com for the listener that's interested. But what we were talking about just a second ago with when we're in fear, we constrict. But I'd love to talk about the first time you sold really high ticket, high dollar amount package to somebody, whether it was the jet or an engagement, or tell me about that. What was going through your mind? Were you nervous at all, or tell me about it?
You know, I wasn't really nervous because it was a jet, because pretty much that's pretty the most expensive thing I've ever sold.
Yeah.
Um, and it really was to Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Um, but what I realized was, yes, I do know about jets, but I'm not an expert like my husband is. He didn't believe in himself enough, although he'd been doing this for other people, for, making them wealthy. And I said, okay, if you're not going to stay in the media group with me, you're not going to go fly in the airlines because then you're at $40,000 a year. And we have this lifestyle we got to
Yeah.
maintain.
Yeah.
So, you've been, 40, 30, 35 years in aviation. That's where you need to go. And because of my contacts, we were able to find him the partner and start the company and everything else. But I believed in him before I think he believed in himself.
Mm,
You know, he'd
yeah.
already been doing it. He just hadn't done it for himself yet. And he really didn't need that partner, but he thought, and then he realized, boy, I really don't need this partner. And we went and started a new one. And his only partner now is me. But you can do anything as long as you believe in yourself. And the other thing that most people don't do is you got to do the hard things first, Daniel. Have
Hmm.
you ever noticed when you do the hard things first, then everything else is gravy?
Yeah. Yes. And
But
it's
I think,
funny how easy it is to forget that.
yeah, you do the hard things first. Um, and then you kind of get addicted to it. Wow, I did this.
Hmm.
So what if I try that? But most people are looking for shortcuts, or they're doing whatever they can to avoid the pain,
Yeah.
and really just do the hard thing. And what it is like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And then you're going to be bored with the silly, mundane stuff because you're used to achieving big things.
Yeah. Well, what is the saying? Is it eat the frog? I've heard that before. Maybe do the
I have,
hard thing first.
yeah, do it first, get it out of the way, then your day is gravy, you
Yeah.
know. But if you don't do what scares you, then every time you have another opportunity, and I have a friend right now, we've been friends since she is 20, and she's really struggling. She hasn't recovered since her divorce, you
Mm,
know,
yeah.
lots of issues. And I introduced her to somebody that would solve, check all the boxes, new home, upward mobility really fast. She's not going to take it
Mm.
because she's talked herself right out of it. And here's the thing, Daniel, we can't fix, change, or save anybody. Look how hard it is to change ourselves. But if you do
Yeah.
one thing, do the hard thing that scares you, and then it won't be so scary anymore.
You're so right. I was talking about this with my team just yesterday. I'm working with a client now, and they have a tendency to focus on fiddling, meaning they are just focused on busying themselves with the technical operations and the complications of the business, not focusing on what I call IPAs, income producing activities. And
Don't confuse activity with productivity.
oh man, that's a good one. Yeah, don't confuse activity with productivity. And I've been dealing with this for a few years now. And truthfully, I told my operations manager, I said, you know, if I'm looking at this from the outside in, I would sing a little song to myself and I would say, "Don't save her. She don't want to be saved." and meaning, hey, I've done as much as I can. I can't change somebody. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
You can't.
So,
And it's
ugh,
like clients. Don't coach people that aren't coachable.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't fix, save, or change anybody. They have to want it. And
hmm,
you limit your time with those people because whoever you're giving headspace to, they get in your head. So be mindful of the people that you give headspace to because you want to stay up here. You don't want to be pulled down here.
yes, yes. Especially this year, I need to hear that. And I'll go back and listen to this episode. And listener, you might be saying, this guy listens to his own episodes. You know what? Yeah, because half the time I record them for my own selfish gain. I like learning the things that I don't know about. So, anyway, a little bit besides the point. Leah, I would love to shift topics for a second and talk about the quote unquote sales funnel. So we've got the magazine, we've got the jets. I'd love to hear about, all the things, the pokers in the fire and how you shuttle people through that customer journey and maximize their value.
Well, I'm that customer journey is getting smaller
Mm,
because they have to fit my target. They have to fit my ideal client before I'm going to
yeah.
work with. Um, Most recently, you can't see it now because I'm in the conference room, but I'm in a $22 million studio.
Oh,
The studio that I had rented, but I built a relationship. This is the thing that people get wrong. You are not in, I don't care what kind of business you say you're in, you're not. You're in the people business.
yeah.
Your job is to make connections and go deep instead of wide. I built a relationship with probably one of the coolest marketing VPs I've ever met. I mean, he's wearing his Martens, his newsboy cap, um, a nice strut. You would never picture him in the financial planning world. And just a great personal brand. And we got to talking, we became friends. And he said, "Look, I'm looking for a national TV host. Can you come in and host 12 shows let's see, it's 12 shows a day for 5 days a month." Sure, I can
Mm,
do that. That anyway for my show. Um, but it was because of the magazines. I'm in the luxury space, so I know that market. So he knows that I'm already in that space. So you don't have to train me for that market because I'm already in it. But I built I put the reps into that um, relationship. And I think people are skimmers. They skim when they read and they skim when they meet people. They don't ask enough questions and they don't find out. They're not curious enough, Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that before. I was talking with somebody else. I forget if it was on a podcast or in a private conversation, but we talked about people's tendencies to just sit on their haunches and just wait. When they're meeting somebody, it, yeah, they don't ask enough why questions. Why? Let me talk about it more. So that's why I try to, like we talked about before we even got on, I try to just lead these organically, inquisitive, and truthfully, I have no idea where it's going to take us sometimes. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Well, people ask me all the time, yeah, because I interview a lot of celebrities.
Mm,
I have my own Amazon Prime show. I've interviewed everybody from Alice Cooper to Aaron Brockovich,
yeah,
and now I'm doing the same thing on my YouTube channel. I'm doing it a lot smarter now, though, because I'm interviewing them for the YouTube channel. It goes, then we take that content, transcribe it, put it into article form. So I'm taking one piece of content and it's going everywhere.
yeah.
So I did get smarter on that, but I'm learning so much from the people that I interview. And people ask me, aren't you scared to interview them? No, first of all, they're just people. But the other thing is people love to talk about themselves. So
Yeah,
I want to give them that opportunity.
yeah. And you know what? I bet you most of their interviews, they're talking about the same canned stuff, and it's very surface level.
No,
And
they don't.
uh, with their interviews that are not with you, I'm sure you dive deeper into the things that they truly want to talk about rather than doing the circuit for a movie or a
Yeah. Interestingly enough, my most challenging interview, believe it or not, was great interview, but getting him was Guy Fieri because I had to do Food Network and Warner Brothers because he's got like $300 million brand. And
Mm,
so I had to your brand has to be good. If you want to interview these people before you can even earn that opportunity, you have to have a solid brand. And I think a lot of people skimp on their brands. Your brand is talking before you even open your mouth.
yes. I'm a big believer in that, and a big believer in most people skimp on their brand and they go straight to the advertising portion. And I've got a little phrase that I use: ads amplify. And if you're amplifying crap, don't do it. But if you have laid a great foundation, and even if you're a startup, if you're sowing the seeds of greatness and you water them and you don't dig them up 2 months in, but you nurture them and then you can reap the harvest. So yeah, I'm a big believer in great branding, and yeah, everybody wants to be known for something. And
They do, but be known for value.
mm,
It's not
yeah,
all about the hype. Jets are beautiful and everything, but we provide world class service and we create an experience for people. And that's why they hire us. And that's why they buy from us. That's why they charter with us. And that's why they come back. And the other thing is, and a lot of people don't disagree with me on this, but if I don't want to break bread with you, I don't want to work with you. And the
yeah,
reason is I'll never throw my heart over the bar for you if that connection isn't there.
yeah. Yeah, I'm big on that too. I passed the "can I share a beer with this person" test, and truthfully, nowadays, I definitely don't drink a ton. It's more like, hey, can we sit down and have a meal together? Could we share wine? Could we do a workout together? Could I go on a hike with you? could we sit in silence and it not be crazy awkward? So,
Right.
yeah. No, I love this. I'm running in tandem with you here. So, as we land the plane, I guess pun intended, as we land the plane here, are there any tidbits or takeaways you would love the listener to walk away with out of what we've talked about today? Any last thing?
Yeah, I would just say give yourself grace enough to really imagine going for it, playing full out. What would that look like? And to feel it, because you got to believe it before you can create it. So get out of your own way and do the hard things first.
Hmm, I love that. Well, Leah, if somebody was sitting there saying, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I love what she's saying. I would love to be a part of the summit or inquire about the magazine or receive a subscription or all the things." Where should they find you?
Well, they can go to speakerlifesummit.com or they can go to speakerlifemagazine.com. Speaker Life Magazine has always been a free subscription, but you can also check us out on YouTube or our podcast, Speaker Life.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was good. We talked about a lot of different things here, but above all, give yourself grace and give yourself the space to create. And I love that. I'm gonna take that and think about it this weekend. And I can't wait to see you in Scottsdale very soon.
Oh, it's going to be fun. And Daniel, thank you for this opportunity. And I can't wait to see you. And we need to get you in my magazine, on my podcast, as well as YouTube channel.
I can't wait. Great. We'll talk soon, listener. Take care. Hey there, Daniel Pope here again. I want to take a couple seconds to talk about my company, Be Known. Now, Be Known exists to be a done-for-you service provider for online-based businesses, coaches, and those that sell online courses and information products. We help them grow from 6 figures to 7 figures and then into 8 figures. We do this because there's so much misinformation out there. So many people just selling a course or just a coaching program over how to grow. Well, we're different in the fact that we actually do it with our clients. We take care of the advertising. We take care of the email marketing, the tech, all the tech. Yes, all the tech, the landing pages, the funnels, the growth strategies and tactics. So I think of ourselves as a expert implementation team plus a fractional CMO per se that guides you every step of the way. So if you've listened to this podcast or an episode and said, okay, that's great, but I don't really know how to do that, or I just need help. Well, that's why we exist. So I want to invite you to a call with me, a consultation where we can talk through your business, talk through what's going on, what challenges you have, what constraints, what bottlenecks, and figure out a path forward. If we're a mutual fit to work together, great. If not, no problem. We'll send you on your way with resources and stuff that can help you get up to speed quick. So again, I invite you to talk more with me, and that is beknownonline.com. beknownonline.com/start is where you'll go. And I cannot wait to talk to you. Again, if you enjoyed this podcast, I'd love it if you can share with some friends. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to your success. Take care.